The history of Singapore is a tale of transformation. From a small fishing village to a global economic powerhouse. Here's a condensed overview of key periods and events in Singapore's history. Early settlements c. 14th century 1819 CE. The earliest records of human habitation in Singapore date back to the 14th century, with archaeological evidence suggesting that the island was inhabited by various indigenous peoples, including the Malays and Orang Lot sea nomads. Singapore was known as Temasek, which means sea town in Malay, and served as a trading post and port of call for merchants from China, India, and the Malay archipelago. Founding of modern Singapore 1819. In 1819, Sir Stamford Raffles, an official of the British East India Company, established a trading post on the island of Singapore. Raffles recognized the strategic location of Singapore at the southern tip of the Malay Peninsula and envisioned it as a British trading hub in Southeast Asia. The signing of a treaty with the local Malay rulers allowed the British to establish a foothold on the island, marking the founding of modern Singapore. British colonial rule 1819-1942. Singapore grew rapidly under British colonial rule, becoming a key intrepid for trade between Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. The opening of the Suez Canal in 1869 further boosted Singapore's importance as a maritime gateway. The British established a free port, developed infrastructure such as roads and ports, and encouraged immigration, leading to the influx of Chinese, Indian, and Malay laborers and merchants. World War II and Japanese occupation 1944–1945. During World War II, Singapore was occupied by Japanese forces following the British surrender in 1942. The Japanese occupation brought hardship and suffering to the local population, with widespread atrocities, forced labor, and deprivation. The fall of Singapore to the Japanese remains a significant event in Singaporean history and a traumatic memory for many. Post-war reconstruction and independence movement 1945–1965. After the end of World War II, Singapore reverted to British control and became a crown colony. The post-war period saw growing nationalist sentiment and demands for self-rule. The People's Action Party (PAP), led by Lee Kuan Yew, emerged as the dominant political force, advocating for independence and social reform. Merger and separation from Malaysia 1963–1965. Singapore joined the Federation of Malaysia in 1963, following a merger with Malaya, Sabah, and Sarawak. However, ethnic tensions and political differences between Singapore and the central government in Kuala Lumpur led to Singapore's separation from Malaysia on August 9, 1965, becoming an independent and sovereign nation. Multicultural society and national identity. Singapore is known for its multicultural society with diverse ethnic communities, including Chinese, Malays, Indians, and Eurasians. Living harmoniously side by side, the government has promoted racial harmony and social cohesion through policies such as bilingualism, multiculturalism, and meritocracy, fostering a sense of national identity and belonging among Singaporeans. Global city-state. Today, Singapore is widely regarded as one of the most prosperous and advanced countries in the world. With a high standard of living, efficient infrastructure, and competitive economy, the city-state continues to attract foreign investment, talent, and visitors from around the world, positioning itself as a global city-state and a model of success for other nations in Southeast Asia and beyond. Challenges and opportunities. Despite its achievements, Singapore faces challenges such as an aging population, income inequality, and environmental sustainability. The government is focused on addressing these challenges through policies aimed at promoting innovation, lifelong learning, and sustainable development, ensuring that Singapore remains a dynamic and resilient nation in the 21st century.